welcome to Babes in the Conclave, a Traitors podcast where a couple of queers are talking crushes, gay drama, and strategy. Today, we are covering the Traitors USA Season 4, Week 5, Episode 8. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. It just sounds like a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot going on there. I am Traitors Australia's most faithful of faithful, Annabel, and you heard them already. It is the sexiest first boot from Australian survivor, ChiliPhilly.
No. That's not very gay, but...
Meow, meow.
Brum, brum. Hello.
Don't tell me what sounds are and are not homosexual. How have you been? Did you see that a little photo from your catch up on the weekend?
Yeah,
that
it was on Reddit.
It was on Reddit.
Yes. I think a bunch of them were. Because I always wonder, whenever we do those sorts of things, if fans would sort of look at who's there and post it and all that sort of stuff. And the reality is it's just everybody who lives in Melbourne, basically, and was available that day. There's people in those photos who was there and they had already left.
Love
Annabel was gonna be there. She's not a future returning player on.
And honestly, after reading Stephen Fishback's novel Escape, which if you haven't read already, you should, it was incredible. I'm like, never leave Australian soil. Never leave Australian soil. Don't go on Survivor. All right.
Okay.
That's my advice as someone who's never been on Survivor.
Okay.
Also, sorry everybody for the delay. This is completely my fault. I have been super sick. My body was just basically went into anaphylactic shock the moment I touched down in the States, Philly. It was like, absolutely no diva. This place is not for you.
Yeah.
And I have barely got out of bed for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, ew. Yeah, well, it's all right. Like, we had a few weeks without you. I took forever to do the UK finale because the audio was just... you probably checked our DMs. A fan was like, hey, like, what is happening with this? And even Trina was like, did you just decide to not post? I'm like, no, I just listened to my audio. I sounded dreadful and it just was too confronting to have to listen to myself. So hopefully my audio sounds better this time. I clicked on the right thing this time.
I did see someone comment, have you gone full babes and decided just not to cover the finale? And I'm like, oh, the babes know us so well.
Yeah, exactly. We're so on brand.
We hate finales. Full spoiler warnings for this episode. Full spoiler warnings for the Traitors USA. Maybe some spoilers for the Traitors UK. I think we've been doing pretty well actually recently of not spoiling stuff. I did want to make a reference to the UK season 4 later on, but just beware, we like spoiling.
And as I always do, even with Annabel's presence, I'll refer to Annabel's season consistently.
Yes. Yeah, I like talking about myself. And sometimes we talk about Survivor too, Australian Survivor. So, actually, I'm talking about an upcoming season of Australian Survivor.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So,
okay, there you go. Okay, here we go.
Look, I'm back. I'm sick, guys, and it's got me spicy. Like, friend of the pod, Karen, said, Annabel, I can tell you're recovering because you've got your hater energy back. And I'm like, I love that.
That's how we know.
Anyway, so also warnings for potential hater energy. But you know where there was no hater energy? In this lovely review we got from Sim37 from the USA, who said, I can't get enough. Annabel and Philly and Trana perfectly balance humor, wit, insight, and a measured dose of thoughtful criticism. They're such a breath of fresh air, and I look forward to them every week. We love you, Sim37. Thank you.
Thank you, Sim37. I'm sorry that I was delayed posting all the podcasts.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who's reached out with really nice messages recently saying how much they love the podcast and the joy it brings them. I've been so sick the last couple of weeks and was like being a bit of a grumpy bum, and those messages They really meant a lot. I needed them in the last couple of weeks, so we appreciate you appreciating the pod.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Getting into the episode. So we start up in the turret, Philly. Things
Mhm,
are spicy.
mhm,
I was not here on the pod last week, but
mhm.
Rob kind of led the charge to get rid of Lisa fucking Rinna.
Yeah.
And Candice, otherwise known as Candiace, sometimes
Mhm,
known as Candice,
mhm,
put Rob's name down.
mhm,
So we get into the turret, and it's a little bit of a, oh.
mhm,
I did listen to your recap and with Mel last week, but can you
mhm.
just give me a? It's been a while now, and my brain limited oxygen.
Yeah.
Can you remind me what you thought about Candice doing that, and if your thoughts have changed now?
I thought that Candace had good sort of protection from that being too traitor on traitor by Dorinda also doing something random. But as the episode has panned out, as in this episode has panned out, her continuing that thought process was what made. So she actually did have grounds to be quote unquote random. It was just her remaining actions were what sort of like added layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. Um, but yeah, I think we just thought it was a bit of a rogue move. But I will say I wasn't feeling any particular way like the online fans were when it first happened. I thought it was a bit of a nothing burger compared to the fan reaction. I feel like the discourse over this season is weird.
The discourse with the US, I feel like this is a safe space to say this. Though, honestly, the comments and babes, not a safe space during Traitors US season 4. Um, the discourse around the US, I think, is so different and potentially more toxic
Yeah.
because it's people who are coming from very entrenched fandoms who don't normally watch the Traitors and have no context for the Traitors. So,
Yes.
like, instead of looking at was this a good move within the context of the Traitors, it's just like anti-housewife people piling on housewives,
Mhm.
pro-housewives people piling on Rob.
Yeah.
None of them have ever watched anything other than the Traitors USA before, which famously isn't even canon anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a lot of aggression and not a lot of like substance behind it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen so much discourse around moves where there's consistent posting about both sides being wrong in a way that there's no credit to anything being good. It's like, how dare Candace throw Rob under the bus? And how dare Rob throw Lisa under the bus? And how dare they do it's like, this is the game that they're playing. Somebody has to do this. This like what like, I understand in some ways that, someone like Candace is probably a lot more loyal, and that could be the discussion to have about Rob misplaying that. That being said, Rob is actually playing so well that all of this is relinquished and he's actually going to be fine. So it's one of these things where people aren't looking at a lot of these things objectively. They're just looking at everything really subjectively, and it's very odd. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about my feelings on this kind of one section at a time. So I want to talk about, first of all, Candice voting for Rob. Because after the episode, my friend, CK, he called me and he was like, this was a genius move because it's putting Rob in a position where if Rob now turns around and comes for Candice after she's put his name down and she gets proven a traitor, it will look like traitor on traitor. And because of that fear of the heat, he will be less likely to target her.
Mhm.
Um, she, as you say, had a lot of criticism for this move. I didn't agree with CK. I didn't think that this was a bad move at the time because the faithful would look at it weird.
No.
Um, I thought that it was a bad move because, like, CK's premise there misunderstands Rob's psychology. Like,
Mhm.
from what we know about Rob, he's petty and he's
Mm,
defensive,
yeah.
right? Like, if you put his name down, his reaction and say, well, you can't come for me or you're going to look, his reaction's not going to be to take a step back. you wave a torch in his face, he's going to throw gasoline on you. He fights fire with fire and petrol. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the issue number one. And then the issue number two is I don't think it's enough of a threat because the faithful are so quick to forget
Mm-hmm.
and they don't absorb information anyway that doesn't already reinforce their existing confirmation bias.
Mm-hmm.
Candace did kind of give us a bit of a post-season interview explanation where she was saying, look, I could have justified putting his name down because it was really sus that he was talking for the first time. But that never really comes up. I mean, she sort of suggests it lightly at the round
Yes.
table, but instead all day, as you say, goes, it was a throwaway vote, it was a throwaway vote, no one was voting for him, when she should have doubled down and said, no, I thought he was, it was a throwaway vote, but I chose him specifically because I thought it was sus he was speaking up. And that's kind of leads me into my next piece, which is Rob an idiot by coming for Lisa and then coming for Candace? Rob won this and Candace lost because she thought she had time to start seeding his name over multiple days, and he went straight for the jugular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, she needed, as you say, putting his name down, I think, last week was a problem because it fundamentally broke her relationship with Rob and let him know that relationship was over. And then but the problem was she then didn't treat the relationship like it was over. She thought she had time to move. And for him, he's like, no, I'm going to cut your throat.
Yep.
Now, do I think it was a good move for him to do this? I think not really. I think it was an emotional move more than anything else, though retrospectively, if he had kept her around, it would have given her more time to seed his name. So maybe it was better to do it sooner rather than later. The issue here is traitor on traitor is the best possible evidence the faithful can have. A good faithful should be going, the only things we know in this game, Donna was a traitor, Lisa was a traitor, Candace was a traitor. What can we deduce from that?
Mm-hmm.
And the moment he put Lisa's name down, he completely lost trust with Lisa and Candace. And he's lucky that both of them thought they had time. And
Yeah.
he's smart that he got in there first before they could do more damage. And by the power of his relationships with everybody else, I think he's going to get away with it, Phil.
Oh, he fully is. Because the one thing that he has done that will do him well was how last week he fortified sort of a 6-person alliance with the Dagger people. And now they're reaching a point where that's going to become the majority. And then also within that group, they have sort of offshoot people who are alliance members with them. So he's down Colton, but Kristen is like a de facto sort of member of that alliance.
So is Maura. Maura's not
Yeah,
even...
so is Maura. Yeah, so there you go. So there's 7 there. And obviously at this point they're looking at Steven, they're looking at the skaters, they're looking at Natalie. This is the thing that Candace should have sort of to buy herself more time. And this is what nobody had been doing. And this is an issue that always flares up with traders, is that nobody who is more safe sort of builds cases over time. We saw this with UK4 with poor Jessie. She was the only person who was still like, let's refer to information that is now further clarified with more banishments, with more murders. For example, this Natalie thing that happened last week, which I'm so sad you weren't with us last week to talk about how much Natalie blew everything up accidentally. But, if they were all so gung-ho on her, or they decided to flip it onto Lisa, why is that now a narrative thread or whatever that is dropped? Oh, it's because they have all decided that that is to be dropped. Now, let's look at Steven for some reason,
I'm pretty high on Steven at this point.
Mm.
I thought that, like, the Dagger Six should not work as well as it is. I
Mm,
think that if anything unravels Rob, like if it's not going to be the traitor on traitor violence, people aren't looking at that at all. It should be the Dagger Six situation. We'll
yeah,
kind of get to that a little bit later, but I think that it's a major misplay from him not to have played the dagger yet.
yeah,
And if he doesn't murder someone from the Dagger Six tonight, I think, like with Eric, I think that's a major issue as well.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about, frankly, I thought this was a great episode, first of all, but the absolute highlight, the Colton murder. Ding dong, the stalker's dead, Philly.
Yeah. It's funny because I'd seen the people posting that I saw the discourse before I watched the episode. And so when I sort of gathered that Colton and Candace had gone, I was very intrigued on what order, well, obviously, well, not what order, but like what circumstances had come to be. And a lot of people's takeaways last week were they have to murder Colton. Like, it only makes sense. Him and Rob went for Lisa. She got banished. It doesn't make any sense. Did find it really interesting that it was a case of Candace suggesting it and Rob just folding on it or just letting her have it. Their dynamic was very odd throughout the episode. I wasn't quite sure, sort of what either of them were really thinking in conjunction with one another, really, outside of we have to get rid of one another. But yeah, it was long overdue.
That's, I had not thought about that at all, and that is genius. Colton did have to be murdered in order to clear Rob because they had come for Lisa.
Yeah.
Like, it would be weird, especially because then people might banish Colton and get confirmation he's a faithful that way.
Hmm.
And then they'd be like, well, why was Rob not murdered in that case?
Yeah.
Like, that is very weird. I was shocked but delighted by it. I think that this was a bad move. It was a great move for Rob
Yeah.
for that reason, but also because I think in the short term, it helps frame Candace. Why would he kill Colton at this stage in the game? They're friends. And in the long term, he already has so many other friends in his corner. He does not need Colton. This is what was giving Rachel to me.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really bad from Candace, again, not because getting rid of an op or just because he had said her name,
Hmm.
but because it was another clear sign of hostility and that the relationship with Rob was over. Like, it was very much, I want to cut you off at the knees. You know what? I'm going to kill your best friend. I'm
Hmm.
going to kill your closest ally. And that signals to him, I don't want to work with you.
Hmm.
She should have read that even though he pushed back, he didn't say no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you were going to burn that relationship, why not try and take out another Rob number? Why not
Yeah.
try and take out Maura or
Yeah.
Mark or Natalie, where
Yeah.
people will go, why are Colton and Rob not getting targeted for taking down Lisa?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I know because again, like you sort of said before, Candace thought she had more days than she did to sort of build this thing, and by eliminating somebody who could have gotten banished, she shortened it so quickly. And then because she didn't then try and prolong it with somebody who already had a lot of suspicion, like Natalie at the last round table, yeah, she just went. She had like, let's say she had 5 lives in this game, and she just went dong 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 dong, and she went straight to 1 life really really quickly. And but she didn't know that. Like couldn't see a life bar in front of her.
Yeah, it was kind of the audacity for me to make it so abundantly clear to Rob that she was pointing a gun at him, putting his name down, insisting on murdering who she perceived his best friend to be, and then being shocked that he came for her so aggressively
Mm,
that day.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Because this is one of the things, and this is a thought that's just popped into my mind. The big difference between, let's say, Traders and Survivor. Traitors is the micromanaging of two different subsets of people. They aren't necessarily alliances, but you have to manage both. You have to be a duplicitous person, basically. Like it's in the name. And someone like Candace, the way she was acting would probably function great on a show like Survivor, where you just go straight for the target, you've set it up, you try and corral votes, blah, 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 blah. But someone like Rob has enough nuance in how he plays socially that it does well on the Traitors. And I think that was a big difference between the two of them, was that Candace thought she could strong arm and sort of do all these things, but hadn't, built up enough relationships, or hadn't secretly built up relationships. She hadn't covertly made decisions that could just help her. Like, she did a lot of things that unfortunately just didn't work. But that is why Rob is doing so well. That's why everybody keeps saying Rob would do even better in Survivor.
He's doing great. He is ice cold with no loyalty.
Yeah.
And he's a professional gaslighter. Like,
Yeah.
I think we were talking in our preseason cast assessment that this is a season of professional gaslighters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And watching him in the library with Candace at the end of this, I was like, I have had this argument with boyfriends before.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, you're crazy. Why are you so emotional off in camera? I'm just trying to get her as angry and emotional as possible so she looks crazy. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go into the round table and say basically nothing, so she looks crazier.
Yeah, I know. It's so toxic, but I'm obsessed. And speaking of toxic, I do have to have a mini rant. I'm not going to have a full rant here.
Yeah.
But, like, I know there's not many Colton apologists out there. So for the ones making it into our orbit, fuck you, Colton. Fuck you, Colton apologists. As someone whose life has been completely fucked up by intimate partner violence, do I think perpetrators deserve to be loved? Have a chance at a family, be loved by their parents? Yeah, sure. Do they deserve another chance at becoming celebrated public figures? No. So go to hell. And bye, Colton, don't care. Hate you because you're a DV offender, not because you're gay. Anyone who hates him because you're gay, you're the problem. All right. Next piece. I saw Rob C. arguing that the traitors should have seduced instead of murdering Colton here. I just want to say no. I think it's too tense. Like, how were Candace and Rob possibly going to agree on who to seduce? It was clearly war. It wasn't going to, like, I don't think anything. Who would they agree to bring in and that do anything other than give one of them ammunition against the other?
That's messy boots. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. Because then are they going to compete over the affections of the third person to do what? And then also at that point, and okay, so again, UK 4 vibes when Fiona does join the turret as the secret traitor. She effectively, the drama she causes almost leads the other two to unify against her and then stay together the whole time. This could be a similar scenario where you introduce a third person. One of them is going to definitely lose. Like,
yeah,
it's going to
They're
be
not
dreadful.
Unifying.
No,
they're not unifying. It's broken.
Yeah.
So I think that it was much better for them to decide on what murder gave them as an individual a better shot against the other person. Rob was correct. Candace was wrong. And then the other one going out, have unilateral decision making over who you want to be in the turret with, which is what Rob gets. I think this was ultimate. Okay, so we have this tense moment. We've killed Colton. Yay. We're going into breakfast, and this is where Hater Annabel, I've got to come out for another little piece here at Breakfast Philly. So, probably no one else has seen, because this is a contestant who has been announced to be on the upcoming Australian Survivor season. So not really any followers yet, but people have been rage baiting me by sending me her Instagram stories with her hot Traitors takes and her advice for future players of the Traitors. her advice. Philly, please, I can't actually get it out of my mouth because it makes me too, inflamed. Share with the audience what this hot advice was.
Oh, it's a lot of meta, like, I would watch the people as they're coming in and...
The last people into breakfast are
Yeah.
always faithful. Oh my God, I'm sorry, but that take is so bad. It's been banned from the subreddit. People are like, can we stop having 6 posts a day about why aren't people looking at the last people coming into breakfast? This has not been relevant for 4+ years.
Yeah.
Anyway, listeners of the Babes all know that, again, that was relevant in season 1 of shows, but they have since been mixing it up, and, you get traitors coming in last, you get traitors coming in at any random point. The entry to breakfast, no longer a piece. But I'll tell you what was a piece. Eric's visibility spike this episode.
Yeah.
I am so excited that he's going to be up in the turret next week. He's so funny.
Yeah. I feel like you had high praise for him in your cast assessment.
I really like him. Yeah, he's super famous. Just not really, the cast doesn't really know that.
Yeah.
And I just think he's his read's terrible, obviously. Well, though he was looking at Candace. But I think he's hilarious and he's cute, and I'm excited to see more of him as he's in the turret. You know who's not delivering at all? And this is a cold take because everyone agrees. Dorinda has given absolutely nothing.
Do you know what? Do you know what? We called so much of this in our cast assessment, and we barely did a cast assessment. We said, master gaslighters. We said people are going to play for longevity, but not for notoriety. We all of this stuff is happening because this cast was so predictable, Yeah, I think, did me and Mel talk about it last week? But yeah, just Dorinda, I think Dorinda thought by basically doing nothing that she was going to last a long time. And then she was like, I'm a star of the trait. No, that's not how it works. It's how it works. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
you're not Dylan Efron.
Give us content. Give it that's why we have the housewives on, to start fights and give us content.
Yeah, if anything, Candace has come out of this as, and Lisa have come out of this as the top housewives,
Yeah, I just feel like it was a completely wasted second chance for her.
Yeah.
Disappointed. Anyway, Maura is all over the throwaway vote from Candace at breakfast. She's pointing out, look, Colton also raised her name. Now he's dead. Could easily be her. Johnny's kind of defending Candace a little bit. He wants to look at Colton, but spoiler alert, Colton is dead in the ground. And when Candace comes in, again, as we were complaining about, she's like, throwaway vote. No one was looking at him. That's not really faithful behavior. If a faithful was going to throw away vote, they would throw away vote on somebody they were still lightly suspicious of.
Well, because that's the point that they all brought up later on. It's so you were doing throwaway votes on Ron because you were just so sure that he was a traitor. And now you're doing quote-unquote throwaway votes on somebody who may or may not be a traitor. And now you're going to turn around and start saying, I think they are a traitor. That's random. That's random behavior. That doesn't really make any sense.
It wasn't super faithful. Rob drops his cutlery when talking about Colton. That gets lightly mentioned later, so I thought I'd mention it here. What did you think about Alan's look today? It was kind of Andy Warhol meets Grandma's curtains. You weren't impressed?
I don't know. I'll talk about it later. This might have been my topic for my 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. We'll put a pin in that.
Not me just taking it always as an opportunity to talk about Alan.
All right, I'm down for that. Okay, so post-breakfast, Candace's plan apparently is to seed the idea of Rob. We should start looking at people under the radar. No, girl, you do not have a week to pull this off. You have 3 hours. Okay?
You got 2 hours after you've been milked and 1 hour before then. You have no time.
And then Kristen says something that I feel like we're being set up in the edit for a fallout between Kristen and Mark, because these were only little moments, but here post breakfast, we get Kristen's second guessing herself. She's like, I'm always wrong. Do I have to start looking at people I trust implicitly, like Mark? I'm like, no, girl, you need to start looking at what you know explicitly, like who the traitors were. But anyway, later on, it wouldn't mean much, except that later on after the mission, Mark, who thinks he's friends with Kristen because they have been really tight up to this point, is like, who do you think it is? Like, there must be a man there. And Kristen has been talking at this point about it being Candace or Stephen, and she won't give him a name. So I'm like, is this setting us up where what could have been a throwaway confessional by Kristen about Mark, does this become a central conflict 1 or 2 episodes from now?
Oh, well, because later down the line, Mark is considered by Rob to be somebody who he may recruit. That could be something that happens down the line. And then Kristen goes, I knew it all along. And Mark's like, oh my God, I got recruited yesterday and we just set the fire of truth. Like, and it's so frustrating. But we are getting told multiple times that they're together and they are posting a lot together. This
Okay.
cast is wild with the posting.
Okay, so they're still close. So maybe it's just a little fallout. It's not a big fallout.
Well, I don't know. They seem to be all good, like.
Well, they're not. Candace and Rob are going at it in the comments.
They are, actually.
Which I love. So Tara and Johnny are off sneaking snuggle cuddles together. They're like the new secret lesbians in the household.
Yeah.
They're the new Meredith Charla, which I love. And he's like, no, Tara, don't be ridiculous. It's not Natalie. It's Stephen. Oh my God, not the drive-bys. It's Stephen this episode.
I kind of love the idea that they're all probably thinking, well, it's a man.
Yes.
But there's only one man it can be. Like, there's no other. Well, they do say Johnny a little bit, but in it's either Johnny or Stephen. And it's like, okay, random.
The big Stephen evidence is that Lisa Rinna gave Stephen her gold. So, I mean, I guess it's not nothing, but it feels very obvious. Why would she do that? Anyway, whatever. This is where and meanwhile, like, Candace is using the weak-ass fork evidence. Did you see Rob dropped his fork? I'm like, oh my God.
This is when the others should realize she's grasping at straws. He's a traitor.
She should be pointing out, I mean, again, he's been so good, so there's not a lot of things to point at. But I do think she should have said, why did the one time he speaks up, it was correct? Was that traitor on traitor? And why was his best friend murdered just as he did something that could look suspicious? That's how I think if you were playing optimally, you would have framed it. Anyway, I also want to rant about the Dagger Six here. So we have a Dagger Six meeting. This is Stephen, Natalie, Mark, Rob Roush, Eric, and Colton was in it, but Colton's now dead. So Stephen, who's apparently our numbers guy, he expresses that there may be a target on them, especially coming from the traitors, and that it makes sense that the traitors murdered Colton because he potentially had the dagger. And Rob makes this completely in my mind, nonsensical argument that the traitors wouldn't try and eliminate the dagger from the game. They would just want to know who has it. And like, Philly, I would argue absolutely no. Like, they should be actively trying to get the dagger out of the game unless they have it themselves,
Yeah.
or they know a close ally has it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that 6 should be going back to back, and that's who they should be targeting for banishment, and that, like, their whole efforts should be going to get rid of extra votes from potential threats. Like, am I crazy?
No, because aren't the others concerned? And I will say, even Natalie definitely should be the most vocal about this. Well, to be fair, she was about to be banished. But as they whittle down their numbers, Rob having an extra vote means so much. Also, like, crazy, like, it happened again this episode, but cr- uh, do you remember if last episode the dagger was explained to be used like a hidden immunity idol? Like, every single other time they've had this, it's like, I play it today.
Use it or lose it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it should have been that.
I think it should have been that as well. I don't like that you can hang on to it, but I don't hate it. What I hate is that everyone except for Stephen is kind of just passively accepting that it's not a major red flag that Rob hasn't used the dagger yet
Yeah.
and isn't afraid that that is making all of them murder targets.
Yeah.
And I just think the moment, like this cycle, if he doesn't murder somebody else from the Dagger Six, the rest of them should wake up and go, why aren't they murdering us?
Mm. Yeah.
And the dagger's still in play.
Do you think a bit of that is why people are looking at Stephen out of all of them more so than because, like, for example, otherwise they're looking at Johnny who isn't in that 6?
Yeah, I guess so. But I think they're looking at Stephen because he seems clever, and their
Yeah.
arguments are Candace and Lisa. Oh, sorry, Lisa in particular. She wasn't the strategic mastermind, so it's got to be someone clever. Stephen is smart. Lisa gave him the gold. Therefore, he, I guess, would know about that. But I didn't get the impression everyone was just like, yeah, sure. If Rob says it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we weren't really given, after Rob proposes that alliance, we weren't given too many confessionals or even any confessionals from what I remember from the other quote unquote alliance members saying why being in this alliance was to their benefit. There's
Yeah.
probably a high chance that we got one from Colton saying something like that. But I don't think we've been given enough content from Mark, Stephen, and Natalie and Eric why them following Rob or even their relationship with Rob is to their benefit. Like, I find it really odd that we're getting told a lot that Rob is just a sweet guy and we wouldn't suspect him. But that being said, then I don't quite understand then why we haven't really been shown why they're willing to work with him in this sort of strategic. We're just always shown Rob's moves, basically. This is Rob's season, basically. This
Yeah.
is Rob's season. We're getting shown all of his moves. We aren't really getting shown anybody else. Yeah, it's really interesting.
I mean, that's always been one of our. I mean, I know it's called the Traitors, but it has always been one of our major criticisms, hasn't it? That we don't, outside of, I think Canada does it pretty well. We
Yeah.
don't get to see the Faithful's gameplay and the Faithful strategic thinking, and actually, that's the bulk of the show.
Yes, that's what New Zealand and Canada do well.
Yeah.
And that's what the
Yes.
others don't do that well. Probably because the
Completely.
caliber is also different, but that's the big difference. So we're not shown why they're made to think in these sorts of ways. But Canada and New Zealand do it very well.
Yeah, we're seeing that for Rob, the Dagger Six has been an absolutely crucial and fantastic alliance building exercise for Rob. But we don't know, like, as you say, why does anybody else want to be in that alliance when it
Yeah.
should be a death sentence for them?
Yeah.
But regardless, Eric's there. He floats Candace's name. Mark and Natalie jump on it. Rob stirs the pot. He's like, oh, and Colton said her name last night as well. Everyone's aligned on Candace. And, like, how is she now meant to get? Because by the time we bring in Kristen and Maura, what's she
She's
got?
done.
Dorinda, Johnny, Tara.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all that's left.
And yeah, that's the thing. Because I think those are also the only people she was aligned with at this point.
Yeah.
So she's toast.
Well, because he's
She was toast.
literally in a tight alliance with every single other person
With
in the
7
game.
people.
It's crazy. And we don't know why any of them are going along with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, that is what makes all of this
Yeah.
crazy, that we're not getting shown any of this.
No. I know why Maura is in it. Maura's in it because they're both
Yes.
from Love Island.
Yes.
It's the natural Love Island connection. I could not tell you why a single other one of them I guess Natalie was kind of Colton and Rob worked hard to save her by getting the heat off her and
Yeah.
onto Lisa Rinna. But like, why on earth, other than thinking in your gut he's not a traitor, would you want this Dagger Six alliance? Anyway, we've ranted at length
Yeah.
about it. Anyway, mission. We get to the mission. This was the really fun portrait recreation mission that we
Yes.
loved from the UK.
Yes.
Any thoughts about this?
No, not really. Like, I did appreciate Kristen was just like, "Oh, I saw the painting and just took the shield," as opposed to the
Well,
UK version where they, like, took their sweet ass time. They're like, "No, no. Reese, shut up."
yeah, Reese.
They hate that was the downfall of Reese, that mission. Yeah, no, it was cute. I did find it hilarious that, like, one team was just seemingly really bad at recreating the images.
Yeah. I liked that Alan Cumming made exactly
The same joke.
joke as Claudia. I was like, clearly the writing team loved that one and put it in twice.
Yeah, yeah. I know when he's like, "That looks like a party that I've been to." It's like, "Yep, I think you and
Yep.
Claudia were at the same party."
Yeah.
I did like when at the very last one, after the other team had flopped a few times, that Alan was like, "Well, there was a discussion whether or not Eric was a pig's head or a crying baby." They were like, like, that was pretty funny.
And I love that Eric's just so overdramatic in his confessionals. Like, our
Yeah.
sweet king isn't giving a lot of, like, deep and meaningful thoughts. He's just shouting about things, and I'm like, yes, go off,
Why
diva.
not?
So Mark, Kristen, Rob manages to push himself in there over Johnny. So the three of them, Mark, Kristen, Rob, presumably protected by shield strategy. Not
Mhm.
that I think any of them were targets anyway. But post-mission, the ball is rolling. Is it going to be our sweet Prince Stephen? Is it going to be Candace, who not enough friends and not enough viciousness? So Natalie and Maura are both, Candace. Eric and Johnny, this was quite an interesting conversation, I thought, Phil. So Eric suggests Candace, and Johnny is like, yeah, well, Colton did mention both Stephen and Candace, clearly trying to push it towards Stephen. I love that despite the fact Rob spends all day, every day playing chess, people can't imagine him having a thought-out strategy. Anyway,
Sorry to everybody listening. I was pulling a lot of faces.
there was a lot of faces. Johnny runs off and tips off Candace that people are looking at her.
Mhm.
And even though it ends up being an almost unanimous vote on Candace, I do think that him and Tara would have stood by her if she kind of hadn't done that drive-by on Tara.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, yeah.
I I feel like Candace, if she had a little bit more experience with this stuff, she could be good.
Yeah.
But her flailing was got her into too
Yeah.
much trouble.
Dorinda, meanwhile, Candace's last really tight friend in the game is trying to convince Maura and Tara at Stephen because of the whole gold situation. This is the bit where I'm like, Stephen, I'm delusional. I'm
Yeah.
delusional. In my mind, I'm like, Stephen, ultimate faithful mastermind, has clocked the sus of the Dagger Six. It's gonna put together this is traitor on traitor. Annabel, Stephen has had like one confessional in the last 8 episodes.
This is his coming out party too. Yeah.
Relax. But I loved this conversation he had with Candace where she sits him down. She tells Dorinda and Johnny to get the hell out of the room, which they don't love.
Mm.
And she's like, who put out my name? And he's like, oh, it was Colton. Then it must have come from Rob. Rob was puppeteering Colton, which was such an insane thing to say
Mm.
that Stephen logically, once he's had time to sleep on it, should think, why would Candace say that?
Yeah.
Why would Candace insist on going for Rob when there was more momentum towards me? Why is the things not adding up with the Dagger Six, as I've already mentioned? I think Stephen's our best hope at putting the pieces together on Rob Roush.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the blinders on particular people because he's not quote unquote close. He doesn't have a close alliance with somebody like the Johnny Tara, Mark Christian sort of crews. And because he keeps getting suspicion, it will probably jog his sort of thought process a little bit better because he's basically trying to find ways to actively make sure it's not him. So if he uses this information next episode as it's just so, it could be to his downfall. He could be like, Candace said, or whatever, like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like he's, as you say, he's not. People love Rob, so I don't know. I think I can see Rob really clearly and easily winning this. This is Rob's
Yeah.
season, as you say. But I think my delusional prediction is that Stephen will clock him.
Well, do you know what? This reminds me of last season when the whole season, I was like, the show's telling me that Dylan and Gabby are winning, and you'll like feel that's fucking random. They're not even talking. They're not even friends. And I got the psychic connection. Maybe you've got the psychic connection to this now.
Maybe. This is what happens when you've been out with some kind of hideous virus for weeks. All of a sudden you wake up in fever sweats and you're like, is Stephen from Laguna Beach a genius? Anyway,
Yeah.
Rob comes to the library. He kicks Stephen out the room. And she's like, what the fuck? She's like, who's saying my name, Rob? He's like, everyone's saying your name, Candace. And she's like, you're the reason. He's like, no. Like Colton said your name last night. And did you know? No, I didn't know it. You're taking this all very personally. It's just a game, Candace. It's so. Did you not have flashbacks to this? We have all been in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. You're crazy.
Why are you so emotional?
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because that's confirmed to me that you felt that way about me.
Oh my god. And so we go into the round table. Candace is denying she's angry and worked up. Rob tells us he's intentionally trying to get her angry and worked up. How's it all gonna turn out? Are we ready for the round table reenactment?
No.
Get ready for our vibes only roundtable reenactment. Johnny opens. I just don't know who to trust. Colton said look out for Stephen. He gave zero evidence, but we all listened to Colton, so should we just target Stephen? Stephen. Did anyone else hear this? Dorinda. Quick question. What's the tea with you and Traitor Lisa, Stephen? She was going to give the gold to perfect angel, definitely not evil Colton, but then gave it to you instead. Look, I just went straight up and asked her for it. If I hadn't asked her for it, she wouldn't have given it to me. That's the tea. Eric. A few things. Firstly, Traitors, I just want you to know, I am absolutely down to rim. Show me hole, I will rim. Secondly, Candace, she's been all about consistency from the get-go, and now she's just doing random throwaway votes. Cut to Rob smirking with Colton levels of smug. Candace. My options were Natalie and Lisa. There was no concrete evidence on either, so I issued a throwaway vote. Well, we felt we had enough evidence. No. There was a consensus vote on Natalie ahead of the round table. Natalie, who? Name the bitch! It was Tara. It was Tara. Bitch, I will cut you, Tara. Tara, I voted for you, but I didn't rally the votes. It was the group. Candace, also, Rob dropped his fork at breakfast. Traitor! Traitorous! Rob, I wasn't nervous. I was upset. I loved Colton. He was my everything. More. Candace, you did a throwaway vote on Rob, but now you're suspicious of him. It was the smoking fork. Colton was being used as Rob's beard. He was the evil mastermind gay all along. Look at Colton. He was an idiot. You think Colton ever had his own correct ideas? No, I'm not smart. I'm just hot. All I said was, no, Colton, don't kill yourself. You're so sexy. But then he died. You don't really say a whole lot at all, do you, Rob? Rob smolders silently. And scene. It is an almost entirely unanimous vote on Candace, except for Natalie, who rage votes for Tara, and Candace, who votes for Rob. Everyone is thrilled to get two traitors in a row. Rob manages to lift up Maura and Eric simultaneously, one in each arm, and no one is looking at him as a traitor. The whole thing was a mess.
I also was really surprised. Like, I feel like they usually, when a traitor is eliminated, they usually sort of bump up the celebration. Like, it's really like a chorus of sounds. I feel like this one was like, yeah, like they didn't add enough extra screaming. So it was just like,
yeah.
Woohoo! Yeah.
We know the fans are going to be mad about this one.
I really wanted to see Natalie's reaction because she was a one rogue vote. See, this is what I mean. We're not getting enough story with anybody else.
We don't even really see her and Tara fight after the round table.
Yeah. Like, huh?
Like, all we do is we see Mark and Natalie reassure Rob that it was such a reach for Candace to come for you. It's obviously not you. It's probably that Johnny. And Kristen being like, oh, it couldn't possibly be Rob, that sweet, sweet man. Like, it's all Rob focused. We don't see any of the other fallout. We don't see Stephen being like, excuse me, was anyone going to tell me there was heat on me today? We don't see Tara and Natalie really go at it. Like, there's a whole other game going on out there, and all we're looking at is barely clothed Rob Roush.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm not mad at that, but I would like perspective.
He is incredibly hot.
Yes.
No, scrap that. He's incredibly sexy. There's just a bit of too much. There's too much. He's got Instagram face.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, he's way hotter than I am, don't get me wrong. But I just think he's not making my crush pyramid. A, because I beef with him for killing Rob Sesternino. But B, because of I don't like Instagram face.
I think he works better in motion. I feel like every time, sometimes, especially when I saw his promo photos of Love Island, I was like, this is the guy that everybody thinks is super hot. But on the show, I think in motion, as he's talking, he really can carry. So he's got good charisma. But he's a charismatic dude, I would say. Yeah. That would be why I find him attractive.
Very, very sexy energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for him.
So, good for him. Love that for him. He's slaying this season, and we are just simply like, what is everybody else doing? Please, release the tapes. So, up at the turret, Rob is like, oh my God, finally, some time to myself. Alan's like, lol, no. Time for you to recruit. Options are Johnny, could throw him under the bus immediately. Everyone's looking at him. Eric, smart enough to help me, but like, would he throw me under the bus? Also, it would shore up our relationship. Mark, no one's going to look at him. He's already in my pocket, so not Mark. Obviously, he ends up recruiting or blackmailing Eric, seducing Eric. I don't hate this as a recruitment at all, Philly, but I think it
No.
clearly communicates to us, the audience, by not recruiting Maura or Mark, he intends to win this alone as a traitor.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't think Eric has a snowball's chance in hell.
Yeah. No. Eric is done. We haven't been. It's the Rob show. We haven't been shown enough Eric until this episode. He basically went on a monologue before he saw Rob that he will always be a faithful. Like, I think, yeah, poor Eric is the first recruitment victim.
And Eric is always the last one to join Dagger Six conversations. I feel like he's the most on the outs of that group.
Yeah. Rob would not have picked a person to actually work with him. He's now only shown that unless they were a faithful, that could be useful to him outside of the group, which is probably good, actually strong evidence on why he kept the other ones outside of the turret. Then yeah, Eric is basically going to be his next fodder.
We're going to get Molly and Harry 2.0, aren't we?
Yeah. But it's going to be Maura.
Maura with a throwaway vote. And also, like, why showing Eric's little ditzy, I know the traitor's handwriting. It's Johnny. I'm like, you wouldn't be giving us this dodo content if Eric has any shot at winning this game. Eric, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where we leave things off at the end of this episode. Now we have some of our fun segments.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we have the Philly Five.
Philly 5.
In this segment, I give Philly, before he gets started, uninterrupted 2 to 5 minutes of uninterrupted talking time. Philly, your time starts now.
Okay, so something I was it sort of really kicked into, and you sort of brought up when you sort of brought up Alan's outfits, and something that sort of I started thinking about at the round table, and then once Alan joined Rob in the turret, I'm starting to find that Alan's theatrics are not actually contributing to the show.
Permission to respond.
Like, I'm starting to find that it's okay. So our issue with the Traitors US is that all these people are coming onto this show and they're just like la 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 la, faffy, doing whatever, and then you'll have a few gems of people who have either previously been on shows or, like Rob, have picked up the skills to do well on the show. But I don't think it has been particularly helping these randos, basically, on taking it seriously that Alan is being a character alongside them being former reality stars. Like, there's no grounding of the game. And then he's like, hello, it was a bad accent. But, he's like trying to do, like, I'm the man of the manor and blah, blah, blah. I just don't think it's contributing in a way that's helping. I'm sure if they were civilians, it would land very differently. But for me, with all these randos who don't even want to play the game and they're just sort of just sitting there, I just don't think it's enhancing it. And also, like, I'm still a bit salty about him hyping up last episode and it was like another episode. Like, there wasn't, which makes me think that
Last episode was fantastic. Last episode was amazing and was adequately hyped. Anyway, yes, please.
That was my 5. Before you interrupted.
I couldn't give you the full 5. I'm sorry. That was too much for me to resist.
Yeah. No.
That's really interesting. Okay. So what I'm hearing is because these former reality contestants are coming into this show, treating it like a fashion parade, not doing their homework, and not taking the show or the game all that seriously
Mm.
by having Alan's Shakespearean antics and like the camp quality that he is bringing as a
Mm.
host
Yeah.
encourages that behavior, and we take issue with that behavior as
Because
opposed
oh no, because I guess the more direct comparison would be somebody like Kareen, who we do
yeah,
love.
like for
And
example,
her demeanor isn't she's camp, but in a different way.
I agree. Like, Claudia, everyone loves Claudia. Claudia's everyone's number one. She brings like a friendliness and a warmth, which I think is needed in the UK and matches
Yeah.
what people
Yes.
expect from reality TV in the UK. But
Mhm.
Kareen is my favorite host because she embodies Lady of the Manor, vampire.
Mm.
I will drink your blood in the night. And I
Yes.
think that she would bring an energy to this that would terrify
Yeah.
these people in a way that I don't think
Yes.
Alan does. But I guess, like, my pushback, in isolation, I love the energy that Alan brings, and I
Yeah.
love that it's extra and it's silly. But I guess that's because I've got to the point where I don't expect anything other than silliness from the
Yeah.
US. I don't
Yeah.
expect them to take it seriously. I'm not taking it seriously.
Yeah. I think watching the 2 seasons simultaneously really affects my viewing experience of
Yeah,
US.
I
Like, it
agree.
really, really does. Like, I love the warmth that, Claudia brings, but I like all the hosts,
Yeah,
including Satan. Like, they
yeah,
all because
Satan.
they all can drive the show in a way that you find it somewhat believable and also whatever. Alan has gone through a transition from dandy man of the manor to Floop in a
Munchkin.
Munchkin, like, he's gone full the other direction, and I just feel like he loves the show. He does love the show,
Yeah.
but I find that there's a happy medium of all of this that can help the show, and I feel like right now he saw Kareen and was like, "I wanna do a bit of her," and it's like, "No, no, no, your thing was, like, you were, like, a baron or, like, whatever, and you wore kilts and not spray painted orange hair in a tracksuit."
At some point, they decided that the Traitors USA was about couture
Yeah.
and fashion sponsorships. And,
It's
like, fine. Like,
sure,
okay, I'm all right
work.
with that. I tell you what, I was actually thinking about this. What I really miss, I miss when Rob Sestonino was on the show and him and Alan would be flirting all the time. That's what I miss. Like, not
But
like in an innocent way, like making art, like, and little aside comments, like that kind of banter I miss, and no one's really got that with him.
But that's what I mean. I think he's now transcended into a realm where it's like you're an abstract entity to
Yeah,
these people. Like, you're on the show. Like, all of this is
yeah.
makes sense, but your presence has no relation to what the contestants are responding or acting like.
We don't
Even
even get
how
Fergus anymore. Fergus's
Yeah, and
background.
we got a cutaway to Lala random
Yeah.
without no context. Like, they're really like, "Oh, no, remember all the things you used to love about Alan and the manor and blah, blah, blah." Well, guess what? They don't exist anymore, and now it's just about couture fashion runways.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
actually the backstory. Bring back Alan's backstory.
yeah,
Make him a more fleshed out character again. He's more than grandma's curtains turned into a suit.
yeah, because when he walks into the turret and it's like, "Rob, so a part of my game. What game is this? You're doing it. You're
Yeah.
playing a different game."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're so right. Actually, it's not his antics that I take issue with. It's that he's been so sidelined as a character.
Yes, that's what I mean. He's so abstract from what they, and then I think it means the contestants feel like they can be abstract entities. So Dorinda's like, yeah, I just walk into the breakfast and just stand here and wear an outfit, and yeah, I like
Okay.
playing this game.
Famously, there are many gay traders podcasts. Are we the only gay traders podcast that's like, we need less Rob Roush and more Alan coming.
Yeah, I want Alan in different outfits. I want more Alan content. I want Alan to, contextualize the missions. I want
And
more
more
Alan.
Stephen, and I want Stephen's strategic thoughts.
We want more Stephen, more Alan, more Fergus. Even Mel last week was like, "Where's Fergus? Where's Fergus? Seriously, we've lost a lot of the brand identity of US Traitors. Sorry. We've 5 minutes turned into 15 minutes. That was a good discussion.
I'm really glad we got to the bottom of this and how I feel about it. Like, on it, crazy things happen when I'm running a really bad temperature, actually. I can feel myself. I was watching the YouTube. I'm so sorry. I'm like sweating. All right. Next is actually this next segment has never been more important. We've said it once. We've said it 1,000 times. This is an educational podcast. Babes Dictionary. Babes Dictionary. Babes Dictionary. We are here to raise literacy amongst our listeners. And also, I want to rebrand. We've famously called our straight listeners in the past our token heterosexuals, but they've been swelling in numbers where I don't really feel like they're token anymore.
No.
So, new name suggestions I'd like to propose.
Mhm.
Pet hets.
Oh, yeah.
I like. Or the babes hags.
Okay, because that was actually going to be one of my alternate suggestions for
Babes Dictionary word.
So that could be next week's.
We'll do next week's. Anyway, straight listeners of this podcast, we love you. You are our allies, and we appreciate you so much. Please let us know in the comments. Would you be preferred to know? You are our babes. Obviously, everyone here is a babes, but you get special status as our allies. Do you like pet hets? The babes hags?
or other.
or was token heterosexuals great?
Yeah,
we'll
it's
keep
great.
That one.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, no. Hag we'll say for next week. Our word of the week in Babes Dictionary is beard.
Mm-hmm.
This episode, Candice accused Colton of being Rob's beard. Would you like to explain to the audience what that means, Phil?
I just thought this was a funny use of the term because obviously you have to correct me, but I'm pretty sure a beard is somebody that somebody dates to cover up their sexuality, right?
Yeah, so beard most commonly refers to a woman, a woman. The woman is the beard who is dating a gay man, and she is being used either knowingly or unknowingly to allow this gay man to present as straight to the public. I guess this originally came about with the idea of gay men aren't real men, so they can't grow beards. Who cares? That's not what it means anymore. Now it's kind of like a bit of a gag.
Yeah.
So yeah, Colton as Rob's beard is so interesting.
Yes. I just loved it.
I initially thought she was saying, so I guess in this context, she's saying Colton was being used by Rob to make him seem faithful. He was using Colton as the mouthpiece to sound off that Rob could hide behind, and none of you were looking at him or suspecting him. I actually thought it was great use of the term beard.
Yeah, I thought it was, I was so tickled by it. I was like, ally, Candice.
Yeah, we love that. That was great use. Other example, I think that's the perfect example of how we would use the term beard within the Traitors.
Yeah. No, that was, you know what? We should just, instead of, maybe this is the evolution. They're no longer Traitors, Guardian Angels, or the reverse. They're just beards. The Traitors' beards.
Is the fate, so every faithful needs a traitor, Guardian Angel, but every traitor needs a beard.
Needs a beard. Their closest ally as a faithful is their beard.
You're right, but I think it's uniquely good with Colton. If Tara Lipinski, for instance, who might traditionally be used as a beard if her and Johnny started dating,
yes,
publicly, Tara Lipinski would make a terrible traitor's beard because she's not out there like acting crazy and drawing attention to herself so that her closest ally is flying under the radar. Like, I
Yep.
think the beard has to be the unique situation where you're an under the radar traitor and your best, like your closest faithful ally. Like, I was bearding for Sam.
Yes. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
good example. No, that is a good example. So, beard, Annabel. No, your face, your face with the big boobs.
Yeah. I would happily be anyone's beard if they needed me to. All right, word of the week, beard. You heard it here. Next segment is a fan favorite one. It's Crush Pyramid. Ooh, 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 ooh. Crush Pyramid. Crush Pyramid. Crush Pyramid. I love the Crush Pyramid music. It's so stupid. All right, okay. Talk me through your Crush Pyramid this week, Philly.
What Crush Pyramid? I might just do some rogue Crush Pyramiding.
You weren't crushing on anyone this episode?
So, actually, okay, so no, not really, to be perfectly honest. I feel like, but I feel like I just was not, I think it was, knowing Candace was going, I was a bit like, and she wasn't doing anything extra. And also I keep just mainly focusing on the women than the men, typically. So we were losing another woman. Natalie wasn't serving too good of a look, and she also really didn't speak. Kristen wasn't really. So okay, so maybe I'll just have to go. Well, special mention. I wanted to be rogue and be putting Lisa Rinna on the Crush Pyramid, even though.
You miss her.
Because I didn't mention this last week, but I did feel for her when she was talking after she got banished about how she had a rough time after she got booted from Housewives, and this was like actually a really nice experience. So honorary mention to Lisa Rinna.
I mean, lest we forget, she did get booted from Housewives because she was being insanely toxic, too toxic for even the Housewives, and they have people go to prison.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, but you know what? She had a humbling moment.
She
She had a humbling moment. Okay, so I'm just gonna go by hotness. So, bottom of the pyramid, one will be Eric. He was looking very like fresh. He's not too much older than us. But I would say he looks probably 10 years younger than us.
He looks 10 years younger than us. Yeah.
So he looks great. I liked seeing his personality more. He was really cute. No, he was really cute this episode. Also on the bottom will be Stephen, also for coming out of the episodes, I guess. And really sort of, I don't know, just being present finally. I do now keep getting photos of him when he was on Laguna Beach on my Instagram, and it is a good reminder that, you know, he was the thing at one point in time in reality TV. And then at the top of it, we already had a discussion about it, basically. It's Rob. I have come to appreciate Rob in terms of attractiveness, and he's doing so well. He's probably going to have to be at the top of the pyramid until he wins.
Look, I wouldn't have been able to accept that a couple of weeks ago when we last spoke about this together. And I've got to say, is this my favorite season of the US so far? We're at episode 8, and I haven't even said I want to quit the podcast yet. I think that's as good as it's ever been.
Yeah, no, this is great. And we went through multiple weeks of multiple episodes. You would have thought it would have speed ran. Your disapproval. Yeah.
Usually we get to this point, and I'm like, I'm absolutely done. He is really sexy. He's so toxic. And I need to distance myself from that. And you know what? If you want to go there, Philly, I absolutely support you in that. But I'm turning a new leaf.
As everybody has pointed out to me over this last year, 2 years, whatever, I seem to have a very strong affinity for being attracted to people who aren't attracted to me, want to ghost me, want to flake on me. Like, Rob is right up my alley. He's top tier.
He's perfect.
Yeah.
He's a bald ginger beard away from
Yeah.
being cooked up in a lab for you, babes.
Yeah, literally.
All right, well, we've got a similar crush pyramid. So on my base here, we've got my man Eric. I just think Eric, peak husband material. He came onto my radar a few weeks ago when he said that he'd been raised to, always put other people first. And I always put myself first, so we're really compatible in that way.
Mm.
He's funny, he's cute, he's now been recruited, so things are looking up for Boo. I think he's going to become more of a character because they're only showing the traitors. And I'm just sad that Rob's going to, chew him up and spit him out. But at least he'll be slay while he's doing it.
Mhm.
Also on the base of my crush pyramid, Kristen.
Mhm.
Kristen was just looking so hot in her turtleneck this week. Like, I just want to appreciate there's nothing Oompa Loompa about what Kristen is serving. It's just fashion. It's just simple lesbian hotness. And I
Mhm.
really want to appreciate her. Keep serving Kristen. And then the top of this delusional queen's crush pyramid. He's totally worked out the Dagger Six conundrum. He's absolutely putting the pieces together that Candace laid on the table. It's faithful mastermind. Is he the greatest faithful to ever do it? It's Stephen.
Yeah. I think he'll do it.
Oh, God, I can't. All right.
I should have predicted that based off you saying that, like, really early on.
Yeah. Everyone else knew. All right, coming up. All right, last one. Predictions. All
Mhm.
right. Predictions. Okay, Eric, is he accepting or is he gonna get murdered?
Yeah, he'll accept it.
He's accepting, that's not even a question.
They're doing it
Eric accepts.
outside.
Yeah. Now, I'm fairly sure that though I feel like the rules are applied inconsistently with this,
Mm.
after a blackmail, seduction, they murder straight away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like they then get a murder. However,
Yeah.
the only thing that's making me hesitate, Philly, is that in the next time on, other than seeing that there's that boxes mission, we see that there's going to be like an in-person murder reveal. So
Oh.
that I'm like, does that mean that there's a short list they're making together that we've got to go through? I don't know. But regardless, let's just give a murder prediction.
Yeah. I think they should murder Dorinda.
You know what? I wrote that down as well, but just because I'm manifesting it, I'm like, what is Dorinda even doing here anymore? She's like one of the last people who's not one of Rob's closest allies. Like, she's
Just
serving
bringing
absolutely
nothing.
nothing. And no one's suspicious of her. And I do think that that would be great because she's not from the Dagger Six, which means more people. Stephen will put together the pieces.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of credit Rob here with him being quite intelligent. No, he's not going to murder Stephen or Natalie, is he?
Nah.
Or Mark.
Stephen, Natalie, Mark, Johnny, they're all got their suspicion things on them.
Yeah.
Kristen has a shield. Eric's being recruited. Moira's his ally. It's literally just going to be Tara or Dorinda, and Tara also had Dorinda's literally the only person that can't be banished for any reason. Everybody else is suspicious of.
All right, let's get rid of Dorinda. And then who do we think is getting banished next episode?
I think
Johnny's been lined up for this. It
Yeah.
has been lined up for Johnny. I think I don't want to be boring. So maybe instead of predicting Johnny, what if the Kristen and Mark finally she starts pointing at Mark
Mm.
and everybody rallies to protect Mark and Kristen goes, but lesbians always make it to the end. Mark
Well,
goes out next episode. Mark
it
is
has
my
to be a man.
prediction.
A
It's
man
gonna be
has to be
Mark.
banished because if they get rid of Dorinda, there's only 3 women left, and they've already had 3 traitors that are women, so not gonna be like, "They had 4 women as traitors." No, they're gonna they're definitely gonna think it's a man, so
Johnny's getting
well,
banished.
yes, Johnny,
Or Johnny or Stephen.
yeah. But I think Steven's edit is not that he's gonna get banished, but I think Johnny's getting a lot of, like,
Stephen puts the okay. Johnny is teed up to go next. Scrap what I said about Mark and Kristen. That's endgame stuff. Stephen puts together the pieces. Stephen's like, no, seriously, guys, it's Rob. And everyone's like, you know who else said it was Rob? A traitor! Traitorous! And then they all turn on Stephen.
Do you know what? If he finishes out this season being on the top of your pyramid, maybe that was the prize he was meant to win this whole time.
Oh, we love it. All right, Philly, where can the people find you?
They can find me at Instagram at ChiliPhilly. What about you?
Stunning. You can find me on Instagram, annabelce. Please check us out. This episode is up on YouTube as well if you want to see me sweaty, no makeup on, looking fairly miserable, and Philly surfing muscle gay realness. Follow us on Instagram. Philly's been posting some really amazing little clips there. They're very cute.
When I can.
Yeah, and just leave us a rating and written review. We're reading them all. We love to hear from you, and we really, really, really appreciate your support. So thank you, everyone. We love you. Bye.
Bye.